This is One Bit Symphony, a standard CD case, which I've mounted um, electronics inside, which play back the music when you plug in your headphones. So inside the CD case, I have this circuit, which is wired so that you can essentially trace the path of electricity from the battery into the on-off switch, then into the chip, and then the audio output of the chip goes through this volume knob into the audio jack and to your headphones. So the one bit in this album, One Bit Symphony, and my first album, One Bit Music, refers to the bit rate of the sound, which basically means that any moment in time, the value of the sound wave is going to be a 1 or a 0, which compared to, for instance, CDs, which are 16-bit, that means you have a 16-bit number made up of ones and zeros that allows you to represent a very kind of particular analog value. And so you have lots and lots of options that allow you to create a smooth sound wave that, in terms of recording, the more accurate the sound wave recording is to the original, the more it'll sound like the original. And with 1-bit audio, I'm restricted to just zeros and ones. So the entire wave is just on and off pulses of electricity. And that basically means that it's like the opposite of recording. It's the opposite of fidelity. I'm not interested in emulating any sounds from the real world. I'm more interested in electronic sound as its own expressive medium. And using 1-bit information is pushing that as low as it possibly can go. For this new album, I wanted to create a much more developed, long-form piece of music that kind of engaged these ideas that I've been exploring musically, that are sort of very simple ideas dealing with like rhythmic structures and interference and certain kinds of polyphony. And I just wanted to build them up into a rich piece of music that was by nature very, very polyphonic, which is a little bit contrary to the idea of 1-bit audio. I sort of wanted to go against the simplicity of it and instead create something very, very dense, very saturated. And so, so for me, that basically translated into the idea of thinking about what a symphony would be for this very simplistic system, and to kind of respond to that idea. When the microchip is on, the battery is draining. Very, very little, but it's on, you know. And so when the music ends, you know, the listener has to turn it off. And so with 1-Bit Symphony, I use this technique that's been some of my pieces of music for a few years now, where the end of the piece are these musical progressions that sort of peter out. There's like less and less happening until eventually it's a single cluster, this 9-voice cluster, that in this case just plays indefinitely until you turn it off or you take out the battery or the battery runs out or whatever. And that did a few things. It allowed me to take this kind of idea of stasis at the end of the piece that I'd been doing in these composed stage classical pieces, and extend it out to its like fullest intent. In mathematics, there's this idea of the proof by induction, where you set up a process and you basically say, like, take this to infinity. And you can't ever do that, but by kind of invoking that phrase, the inductive step, you kind of are able to take the entirety of this infinite body of information and kind of tame it and use it later on. And so I think of this as like, it sort of sets up this infinite process, which of course none of us can actually realize, but nonetheless it would go on forever if you left it playing.